Good afternoon. My name is Father Rayappa. I'm in Ekattupudi village near Vellore, South India. I'm going to talk today about Misericordiae Vultus, Pope Francis's document on the year of mercy. I'm going to discuss on the article, the paragraph number 9, in which the Pontiff discusses about the great parables, especially which reveal God's mercy. They are one, the lost sheep. God teaches that the shepherd goes after the lost sheep. When he finds, he celebrates with joy. He has mercy. Mercy makes him to go after the lost sheep. The second one is the lost coin. The same thing when the woman finds and she goes into celebration. The third one is the prodigal son. These are the three parables devoted to explain God's mercy for us. And they are explained in the Gospel of St. Luke chapter 15 verses 1 to 32. And also the Pontiff is talking about the discourse Jesus had with Peter. How many times Peter asked Jesus, how many times I should forgive? We read this event in Matthew chapter 18:22, and Jesus says, I do not say 7 times, but 70 times 7 times. So mercy doesn't have any account. Mercy doesn't have accounting. So it is unlimited. God's mercy is unlimited. And also the Pontiff is quoting the example of the ruthless servant from Gospel of Matthew chapter 18:33, in which the ruthless servant was forgiven by the master, but the ruthless servant, when for him another opportunity he got to forgive his fellow servant, he failed. He didn't forgive him. Rather, he put him, have him put in the jail and persecuted him. So when the master, when he came to know about it, he's telling the ruthless servant, should not you have had mercy on your fellow servant as I had mercy on you? It's a brilliant quote. So this is what Jesus is all about. His whole mission was the reflection of mercy. His face was God's face, the face of mercy. That is Misericordiae Vultus, means it's a face of mercy. God's face and Jesus' face. And of course, as human beings, our face also should be the faces of mercy. So I'm going to read article number 9 from Misericordiae Vultus, and let us discuss a little bit after the reading. Article 9, Pope Francis writes as follows. In the parables devoted to mercy, Jesus reveals the nature of God as that of a father who never gives up until he has forgiven the wrong and overcome rejection with compassion and mercy. We know these parables well, 3 in particular, the lost sheep, the lost coin, and the father with 2 sons. Gospel of St. Luke chapter 15 verse 1 to 32. In these parables, God is always presented as full of joy, especially when he pardons. In them we find the core of the gospel and of our faith, because mercy is presented as a force that overcomes everything, filling the hearts with love and bringing consolation through pardon. From another parable, we cull an important teaching for our Christian lives. In reply to Peter's question about how many times it is necessary to forgive, Jesus says, I do not say 7 times, but 70 times 7 times. Gospel of Matthew chapter 18:22. He then goes on to tell the parable of the ruthless servant who, called by his master to return a huge amount, begs him on his knees for mercy. His master cancels his debt, but he then meets a fellow servant who owes him a few cents and who in turn begs on his knees for mercy. But the first servant refuses his request and throws him into jail. When the master hears about the matter, he becomes infuriated and summoning the first servant back to him says, should not you have had mercy on your fellow servant as I had mercy on you? Gospel of Matthew chapter 18 Verse 33, Jesus concludes, so also my heavenly Father will do to every one of you if you do not forgive your brother from your heart. Matthew chapter 18:35. This parable contains a profound teaching for all of us. Jesus affirms that mercy is not only an action of the Father, becomes a criterion for ascertaining who his true children are. In short, we are called to show mercy because mercy has first been shown to us. Pardoning offenses becomes the clearest expression of merciful love. And for us Christians, it is an imperative from which we cannot excuse ourselves. At times, how hard it seems to forgive, and yet pardon is the instrument placed into our fragile hands to attain serenity of heart. To let go of anger, wrath, violence, and revenge are necessary conditions to living joyfully. Let us therefore heed the apostle's exhortation. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. Ephesians chapter 4:26. Above all, let us listen to the words of Jesus, who made mercy an ideal of life and a criterion for the credibility of our faith. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Gospel of Matthew chapter 5:7. The beatitude to which we should particularly aspire in this holy year of mercy. So beautifully written by Pope Francis. Misericordiae Vultus. God's face is mercy. So let us look this face very often during this holy year, and also let us exhibit our own face in accordance with God's face, because be merciful as your heavenly Father is merciful. That is the motto of this year. So God's DNA is within us. St. Paul says, the Spirit of God is poured into our hearts, which means we have the same DNA of God. We are image of God. So we can be capable of showing our face as a face full of mercy. So be merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Please read article number 9 from Misericordiae Vultus. And thank you, and God bless. Happy year of mercy.